Good morning and welcome to Quest Television and Quest 93.1 FM, the station that goes beyond your expectation. Well, today is a beautiful Wednesday, the 27th day in the month of September. And right now it's about time for us to look into the headlines making the rounds on the dailies. My name is Orikemi Mariam, and with that being said, welcome to the paper review on Quest today. Making a return back to the studio this morning are 4 newspapers. We have The Guardian, The Nation, The Punch newspaper, as well as The Daily Trust. And like I said, it is a Wednesday. It is a full house. With me this morning in the studio is my colleague, the person of Alex Ogbunaya, and also our admirable Quest analyst, the person of Comrade Efi Odomo. Good morning to the show, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Yeah, my prayer for you this morning is that your pockets must continually remain dirty.
Okay.
You understand the meaning?
At this point, I don't think I want to even look into that, but my pockets will always remain clean.
No!
Yes, clean, comrade.
A rich man's pocket is always dirty.
Well, without much ado about dirty pockets and all of that, let's head straight into the papers. The first paper for review this morning will be The Guardian. And on the front page of The Guardian newspaper this morning, the major headline states, more factories and businesses may shut down as diesel hits 1,100 naira per litre. Quite an interesting one there, but get more details on that on page 6. Moving away from that, we have from Cardoso. He says how CBN will stabilize Naira and slow down inflation. That's more details on that you can get on page 27. Police arrest 3 Adamawa monarchs and councillor for selling palliative. Wow. Kudos to them, but more details. When I say kudos, I mean more kudos to the police. And well, more details on that you can get on page 30. Well, moving away from that, the NLC and TUC close ranks to begin indefinite strike come October the 3rd. Get more details on that on page 27. In search of qualified teachers for basic and secondary school education seems to be making it to the front page of The Guardian this morning, but get more details on that on page 4. Also, renewed insecurity and killings threaten Gubapol in Imo. Get more details on that on page 24 of The Guardian. The final headline on the front page of The Guardian newspaper this morning says IPOP flays history book labeling Indigo as invaders and troublemakers. Get more details on that on page 30. And well, for the picture of the day, more of a chat, and it's showing what manufacturers spent on alternative energy between the year 2026 and the year 2022. Get more details on that on page 5 of The Guardian newspaper. And that's much we can take on the front page of The Guardian.
Okay, next is the Punch newspaper, and Punch is leading with the indefinite strike declared by Labour to begin on October the 3rd. And the story is fittingly captured, OPS kicks as Labour vows to shut down airports, others Tuesday. Federal government Labour leaders meeting holds Tuesday. Tinubu to unveil workers package October 1. And of course, the list is endless. Above the masthead, Cardoso to clear dollar debts, suspend intervention loans, and fuel, car, others imports go up $46 billion annually. That's according to the federal government. Eid al-Maulud, pray for Nigeria, Tinubu tells Muslims. And this sad one, landlord baits 11-year-old with hot water. You want to know where this one happened? Turn to page 5 of the Punch newspaper. And finally, on the front page of Punch newspaper, INEC unveils Ondo Edo polls timetable. The full story can be found on page 7.
All right, the next paper for review this morning will be The Nation newspaper. And on the front page of The Nation newspaper this morning, the major headline reads, How I Will Tackle Inflation, Naira, and Forex Crisis. And this is from Cardoso. The writer that says CBN Governor, it says from CBN Governor, says transparency and compliance to rules will be upheld. More details on this you can get on page 2 after reading on the front page. Moving above the masthead, we have Obaseki asks Shoaibu to drop governorship ambition. Seems as though the roar continues, but get more details on that on page 2. Tinubu okay's purchase of 12 attack helicopters. The writer that says Army Aviation gets boost. More details on that on page 6. On Maulud Nabi, it says President and others felicitate Muslims. More details on that on page 6. And how Abiodun is driving FDI through OGFTZ. Get more details on that on page 27. Below the masthead, we have response to allegations. Ondo Assembly tells Ayedatiwa. The writers there say lawmakers reject court ruling. Pro and anti-deputy governor groups stage protests in Akure. More details on that you can get on page 2 after reading on the front page. Federal government needs 217 billion naira to complete 269 roads. It's making it to page 2 of the Nation. And moving down below, we have OPS, Speaker and others oppose Labour strike call. The writer there says NLC and TUC fix October 3rd for indefinite strike. More details on that you can get on page 4 after reading on the front page. INEC fixes dates for Edo and Ondo governorship elections. Is making it to page 27. And well, before we leave, we can see a chart there showing the previous CBN governors, about 11 of them we've had since the year 1958, but do want to read all of that on page 2. And well, that's much we can take on the front page of the Nation newspaper.
Finally, the Daily Trust newspaper. Survivors narrate ordeals in hands of bandits. That's the lead story on its front page. My son, grandfather, over 50 others abducted. Eyewitness. Varsity not fenced, poorly policed. Attack the third on institution. That's the lead story. We call the Zamfara Varsity abduction. That's the lead story on the front page. And directly below the masthead, Leah Sheribu dumped first husband, remarries another ISWAP commander. Shetima says economy will pick up in 15 months. That's also a story that might be of interest to you. Gombe, tribunal upholds Governor Inuwa Yahaya's re-election, dismisses PDP's petition. And still on the front page of Daily Trust newspaper, Labour to embark on indefinite strike October 3rd. Ida Malud, Tinubu, Shetima, Atiku, Akpabio, Barrow preach tolerance. You can read up that story on page 5, or rather 8, of Daily Trust newspaper. And finally, on the front page of Daily Trust, Forex crisis, transparent rules are my immediate priorities. That's according to the new CBN Governor, Olayemi Cardoso. That's that from the Daily Trust newspaper.
Well, at this point, we're taking out the headlines on the front page of all the dailies I mentioned earlier, which is The Guardian, The Nation, The Punch newspaper, as well as the Daily Trust. At this point, it is time for you to call into the show and have your say, but do not forget to stick to the headlines making the rounds on the dailies. The numbers to call are on your screen, but for those on radio, the number remains 080-22-931-931 and 081-88-888-931. With that being said, let's have our first call for the day. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Well, while we wait for those calls, at this point, we'll just move over to Comrade, and whenever the calls come through, we'll come back to you. Well, Comrade, you've heard the headlines. I did see that you had some reactions to some of the headlines, but let's start with the first one, which actually got your attention, talking about diesel hitting 1,100 naira per litre, and factories and businesses may shut down. What's your take to this?
There's no two way about it. When your cost of production increases, then your price will also go up. And it gets to a point that the prices could no longer go further, and you are no longer making profit. Then you cannot break even. And when you cannot break even, it's a signal that you are closing down your operations. Because prices are set based on your break-even point. And now, you cannot even attain that break-even point because of high cost of production.
What actually is going on with diesel?
It's the deregulation of the downstream sector. That everybody now depends on the importation of diesel. And the rate of consumption is also going up because we don't have energy. The energy sector is almost down. So everybody depends on diesel to run their businesses. And when the demand is so high, the prices will also go up. It's under demand and supply law in economics. And now, for you not to shut down, there are some companies in this country, even all over the world, that if you shut down for it, it's as good as rerunning the whole process from beginning. Like, let's take vessel, for example. The engine of the vessel does not stop until it is bad, until that engine is bad. If it is designed for 50 years, the engine runs for that number of years. So if you now shut it down, it is as good as you are having a new engine entirely. So there are some companies, especially the textile industries, that they will never shut down their machinery unless, of course, there is a major fault or disaster. Let me use that word, disaster. And in that case, you continue pushing for more energy. That is the diesel.
Yeah.
And the more you push for diesel, you know, when you have a cash cow business, when the customers rush in, you push up your prices. And that is what is affecting the...
Okay, so pushing up of the prices, do we not have anybody's in Nigeria to regulate the prices of these marketers?
When you talk of demand and supply, when demand is higher than supply, how do you regulate the prices? It's not just possible. It's a very simple economic analysis. If at DB you have much more supply than demand, then you can just sit at home and then the buyers become the lords. They become the lords. But now the suppliers are few, the product is not so much like that, and the demand is so high, and it's in the excess of even what we have in the market. And again, too, most of the channels of bringing diesel into the country are facing crisis, like the Ukraine-Russian war, the Arab nations skirmish and all these things. So it's bringing down the rate of inflow of this product into the country.
So there's no way out of this right now?
It's a bit difficult now, unless we have to open up our refineries and we'll start producing ourselves. It's a pointer that we're supposed to be manned by now.
Okay, let's go to Edo State. There will be elections in Edo State next year. And this morning, Obaseki asked Shuaibu to drop governorship ambition. When he saw that, your reaction was, what's wrong with this man?
I don't understand. Everybody has ambition. If Obaseki was not having ambition, he wouldn't have contested under APC in the last dispensation.
During his first time.
Now, APC, he had problem with APC and he came to PDP. Is that not an ambition? Allow this man to run. This man has served you faithfully for the past 7 years. When he was on telly last week, that's Shuaibu, he said we have few days to the end of this of our 8 years tenure. Why fight at this point? I have an ambition, yes. If I win, fine. If I don't, so
life goes on.
So for him to say, even if Obaseki has an anointed candidate, it should not be in this manner. Both of them are like brothers and two brothers. Sit down and iron this thing out. But for you to blow it up, locking up the man out of office, it's an aberration. It's an aberration. And I think the government should do well, that is the federal government and through the constitution, to actually carve out a constitutional role for these deputy governors. So that they don't become a puppet in the hands of the governors.
Well, let's see if we have callers on the line right now. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Okay, seems as though we're still having issues connecting to the lines. Okay, well, comrade. Another matter that seems to be quite an interesting one on the minds of many Nigerians, especially with what we went through not too long ago, referring to CBN and its new governor. Now, Cardoso is saying, I will fix or I will tackle inflation, Naira, Forex crisis. He's going to use transparency and compliance to rules, as tools that, to do his job, basically. The thing is, we've been hearing promises. Nigerians are used to getting promises, and at this point, the question now is, will he be able to come through with all of these promises he has made? And if at all, how can we hold him accountable if he doesn't?
I don't think Nigeria can hold him accountable for anything, because the person they will tell you is,
well, we did hold Emefiele. Right now, Emefiele is going through.
Emefiele was not held accountable, not to be accountable for what he did. Emefiele stepped on toes. There is a difference between holding you accountable for what you did and when you stepped on toes. If Emefiele had not done those things, you know what they are even accusing him for? Some of them are out of this financial sector issues.
Yes.
So he stepped on toes. For this man, for Cardoso to succeed, he has to put his feet on ground. Nigeria is a very complex state. All the macroeconomics that has succeeded in other countries, then they tried them in Nigeria, they've all failed, and we still continue to soldier on. That's to tell you that we have our own elasticity of resistance, and there's no way you can overstretch it in Nigeria, because everything that happens, we absorb it. You have told us you clear the Forex backlog. Yeah, it's a good move. We need to see how he's going to do it. And again, like I always say, they've given him the mantle of leadership in that sector. Hope he will not be teleguided. Because it's one thing for you to have responsibility, authority, and it's another thing for you to have responsibility. You cannot delegate responsibility, but you can delegate authority. The government should come out with his plans. I cannot say he will succeed or he will fail. Give us your plan. Give us how you are going to tackle these issues. And let us see those that are going to do it. And again, too, a goal, which is about setting now, must have an arrival time.
Yes.
That's why they say a goal is a destination with an arrival time. Give us your timetable of how you want to achieve this thing. How do you want to do it? When you are talking about Forex, do you have the power, your local currency power that can stand against the Naira, against the foreign currencies? And Nigeria, our major currency now, whether we like it or not, whether official or non-official, is the dollars. Most people now collect their nairas and they exchange it into dollars and they keep. So all these things are what this man is going to tackle. Does the CBN have any modus operandi to trace the movement of naira from the CBN to the commercial sector, from the commercial sector to the public, back to CBN? Do we have that apparatus in place? I think the answer is no. Because if we have it, most of these monies that have been tied down, the ones that have been swallowed, the ones that have been discovered in the graveyard and co will not be there. The individuals are currently richer than the federal government and the state. If somebody could be declaring 9 trillion as an asset before becoming a governor, how much can the country declare as, what is the budget allocation of the country as a whole?
All right. Well, at this point, we're also aware that the Labour Party is, or rather, sorry, the
oh yes, I know how you look at it.
The NLC and the TUC have agreed to go on strike come the 3rd of October. Comrade, we have talked about this before. It seems as though it seems as though we're just going around in circles on this same issue. What will be the difference this time around?
Before we go to the difference, the minister said early this week that they cannot go ahead with this discussion because the president is not around. And they should wait for the president to return. That is one angle. Second angle, the president has said he's going to unveil the palliatives for labor on October 1st, which is just Sunday. Now the labor is saying they are going on strike on Tuesday, which is the 3rd. If the president's speech met the yearning of the labor, will the labor still go on strike? Why don't they wait for the president's speech, look at the analysis, look at what he wants to do for labor, and have the next confirm whether they should go ahead or not?
Could it be why they pushed it to on the 3rd of October? Because one expected that they probably would have even started the strike this week. Today, tomorrow? It may
be a reason, but I think it's not cogent enough. We cannot say I will do. If they have said, if you don't address this issue, we will go on strike, it's a different matter. But this is a direct statement they made. We are going on strike, we will shut down the nation from October 3rd. The man is addressing the nation on October 1st. Now, if you are going to, like your tribe's proverb, if you are looking for something in Sokoto and you're fighting the Sokoto, do you still need to go for that again?
Well, comrade, at this point, I'm going to cut you off there because it's time for us to log out of this segment. But thank you very much for keeping up with us today, and we do hope to have you tomorrow, as usual.
Definitely, Jesus will tarry, I pray.
All
because
right.
where we are going, it's a bit shorter than we are coming from.
All right, thank you very much, everyone, for keeping it real here on the paper review. We're quite sorry we couldn't take calls. We're having some connection interruptions. But don't worry, tomorrow we'll come back here and you can call into the show. Also, at this point, I thank the Vanguard newspaper for sponsoring the paper review here on Quest today. Have yourself a lovely Wednesday, and bye for now.